Hey there YouTube, this is SJM4306 back with another projector review. I know I've been doing a lot of projector reviews kind of semi-recently, but I freaking love projectors. I mean, they're really cool. Being able to essentially have a big screen TV that's kind of semi-portable or portable is just awesome. So anyway, we are going to be taking a look at this guy today. And this is a Jimtab M18. And the manufacturer actually contacted me and said, we saw a couple of your reviews and we enjoyed your videos. Would you like to take a look at our model? And I have a feeling, just looking at these specs, this seems to be kind of a direct competitor of one of the previous projector that I reviewed, the Vivibright F30. So it looks like this is kind of almost one-to-one in comparison in terms of the features. Just to give you guys a quick rundown, this is supposedly a native 1080p projector with 4500 lux brightness. I don't know exactly how that weighs out in terms of lumens, which is generally the brightness rating that most projectors use. It basically has, the whole shebang of inputs, VGA, HDMI, USB. I can ramble on this all day. You can see it's in a really nice, heavy, solid box. I guess there's nothing else to do other than open this guy. Yeah, so we have a power cable, HDMI, awesome that they include that. And this guy actually has AV. That's interesting. You can plug in some old game consoles. And it has a snazzy remote. It looks very similar to a lot of the other projectors remotes I reviewed. Oh, this is sealed. But you can see the, I wonder if these are backlit. That would be really cool if they are. Because if you're going to be using a projector, you're going to be using it in a darkened room. So if these are backlit, then I'm actually excited about that. If not, it looks pretty much exactly like all the other remotes. Wonder if it's glow in the dark, actually. Looks like we have the projector here, and it's very well protected. I'll give them that. Looks like cardboard and foam. Wow, this guy's pretty heavy. So yeah, this is going to be decidedly less portable than some of the projectors I've taken a look at. But then again, this is true HD, so you're kind of sacrificing portability for image quality. Anyway, we will pull this out. There we go. Save these. These are actually really good for protecting the projector if you're ever going to be moving it around, so keep those. Looks like it's upside down. And I love these bags. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this guy's pretty big, I will admit. But, wow. Okay, first things first, it feels super solid. Plastic is not flimsy at all. Thing weighs quite a bit. About the weight of like a college textbook, I would say. And first thing I notice is I really like the sort of almost looks like brushed anodized aluminum. This is definitely plastic though, but has this really nice texture to that. I really like that. The logo Jimtab is silkscreen on top of there, and the other side is just matte. So good thing that they didn't go with any glossy plastics. That kind of drives me nuts with dust. Here we have all the buttons just right on the edge there. That's convenient. Power, menu, source, play, okay, up, down, left, right. That's pretty standard fare. On the front here, we actually have the lens. This is for keystone. And then this guy's for focus. There's a lens cap. And wow, look at that lens. It seems to be... I'm pretty sure actually that's the same size lens for the F30. So yeah, I'm expecting this to be pretty similar in performance. And this has lots of travel. Look at that, it actually extends out of the projector. So at least that'll be good. It'll give you lots of adjustability. And the focus is solid. It's not too easy to bump, but at the same point in time, wherever you set it, you can leave it there and it won't knock out of adjustment. So we have the IR port on the front here. You can just about see in the reflection. Everything's matte. I love matte plastic. As nice as glossy looks, it doesn't last. Anyway, we have some venting. That'll be important. On the back side, we have AC input, and it looks like it's fused, so that's a good thing. Yeah, use only with, what is that? 250 volt fuse. Okay. There's a single speaker on here. You can see it's like about, what is that, maybe 2 inches. It's probably one of those, was it like 3 or 4 watt, tiny little full range speakers. Has VGA. That's nice to see legacy video input on modern projectors. Another second IR port. I really like when they have multiple IR ports because you don't have to point the remote directly at it, and they're usually pretty good about that. 2 USB ports. So one says 5 volts, one says U. I wonder if both of them can do data, or if one's just for power and the other's for data. What I usually do is I use one of those wireless HDMI dongles, so I can cast my video from my phone, and that requires a second USB source for power, so that's always good to have multiple ports. 2 HDMI inputs, that's really nice. And on this side, let's see, yeah, that's a massive honkin' heatsink. It's pretty much the full height there, and plenty of venting. So they definitely took cooling seriously. So we'll have to see. I'm really hoping that this is quieter. That was one of the downfalls, I think, of the F30 that I reviewed, was it was pretty darn loud. And yeah, you can compensate by turning audio up, by hooking up like nice external loudspeakers. But I just, it was perfect except for the loudness of the fan, I would say. So hopefully this can improve upon that. Just looking at the massive size of that, I can see some copper pipes as well for the heat pipes. So hopefully, I'm hoping the thermals are good on this. Nice and quiet as well. We have a full-size SD card slot. That's nice to see. And AV, so that's a composite video, and a headphone jack, so you can hook this up to external audio. All this seems pretty standard fare. Okay, before I forget, on the bottom we have little rubber feeties that hold it nicely off the table. There's 4 of them, 1 in each corner. A very easy to adjust little foot. That's nice, so that you can prop it up a little bit to project it a slight angle from a table. And we have lots of these little screws, and these are basically, you can mount them onto like a mounting plate that will secure to your ceiling. So if you want to have this permanently installed, you can totally do that. Okay, so we're set up with the Jimtab here. It's sitting here, and this guy, I gotta say, is quite a beast. Gonna just fire this up. And now, one thing that I have to say about this compared to other projectors, it seems that the throw on this, to get a larger image, you actually have to back this guy up quite a bit. Unfortunately, I got a lot of junk in the back there, and I don't have that much distance more to the wall, so this is kind of as large as I can conveniently get things set up. But anyway, this image, you can see, is about, I want to say, probably 55, 60 inches-ish. I try to keep tests consistent between like what you would have for like a TV, like a large screen TV. So this is probably equivalent to about a 60-inch TV. Anyway, this image is actually really super bright. It's quite a bit brighter than the Vibrabright F10 that I've seen. It's probably about on par, looking at it, to the F30. I would say it's closest competitor. In terms of the image color, you can just see it looks really nice. I'm actually pretty surprised. Some of the lower end projectors I've received, you actually have to fiddle with the image, the contrast, the brightness, and the colors to get it to look right. They always tend to be shifted towards either reddish or greenish or something like that. So they require some adjustment to look really good. This, straight out of the box, no adjustment. Just me sitting here, firing it up, plugging some video sources in. It looks fantastic. So you can see the menu here is pretty simplistic. One cool thing I'm going to actually show you guys a picture of right now. So yeah, as you see that it glows in the dark, the remote, that's a genius idea. All projector remotes should have glow in the dark buttons. I'm sorry, that's just the way it should be. It would be better if they were backlit, but I can understand the batteries would drain quite a bit faster then. So that's a good compromise, having it glow in the dark so you can at least kind of see it in pitch darkness. So I have USB plugged in. There are 2 ports, and I have it plugged into the top one, and you can see right there it detected. It says USB 2.0. We can fire up some test images. So here I have some test images. We'll just do the regular old fire through, and see, it's sort of doing the slideshow thing, but the image quality is absolutely fantastic. I mean, the colors are great. Once it pulls up the detail test image, you can just see just how fine. You can go right in there. You can actually see the individual lines. That's absolutely insane. So this definitely 1080p is super crisp on this. So we're just gonna go back. Let's actually fire up one of my videos. We'll do the obligatory channel intro that I always have playing. Okay, so we can just start this up. How do I? Okay, you press down to get rid of the bar. The volume, I will admit, the volume's super loud. So this is something I would listen to it at this volume. Let me fire it up all the way. Okay, there we go. And you can see my pet peeve from the Vivid Right. The mute symbol is up in the corner out of the way. It still is on the screen permanently while it's muted, but that's a huge improvement right there. The only thing is this remote is a little bit confusing. There's your like 4-way D-pad with the center OK. Volume is actually left and right on that, and the buttons where other projectors I've used, they would be the volume buttons. They're actually fast forward and rewind now. You can see. So yeah, it's going to take some getting used to this remote, but actually I prefer just on the fact alone that it glows in the dark. Kind of can't see it in here because there's a bright image behind it, but definitely those pics I showed you, definitely glows in the dark. But yeah, let me, back out of this, and we'll fire up. There's actually resume play. That's interesting. So yeah, let's actually give that a test. So we can do 2 times, 4 times, 8, 16, 32, and then goes pretty much in increments of 2 to the n to 32. But yeah, you could see here if we exit out and then immediately play again, should prompt us to resume play, and it resumes. Wow, so that's actually really good for movies. If you have to turn off the projector or you're watching something, you need to shut it off for a second, come back to it. You don't have to scroll through the movie and zoom through it to find where you left off. That's actually a really nice feature. I like that. So you can see the image. You can bring up the menu here. Maybe go to something with slightly more detail. So yeah, you can see, zoomed right in, you can see like individual traces on the board in the video. That's awesome. So yeah, image quality is really good on this. This is definitely a step up above even the 720p projector that I reviewed. Let's just... Let's just mute. There we go. So yeah, this looks absolutely fantastic. Get right in on there. You can see the detail. So this is actually playing. This is a 1080p video. It's playing back at 1080p. So absolutely fantastic. So let's just go back to the menu and we can click source and switch over to. There's actually 2 HDMI ports on this, so that's actually really nice. And it timed out. So we'll just fire up HDMI 1. And my Nintendo Switch is actually plugged in. And you can see, a little bit out of focus there, but let's see, wake this guy up. Yeah, the tombstoning works pretty well on this too. I really like it. It actually has a pretty large range. You do have to adjust the, you do have to adjust the focus a bit after you adjust keystoning though. But that's sort of to be expected. And the adjustment wheel is nice and heavy. Like, you're not going to bump it. Where you set it, it will stay indefinitely until you adjust it again. So that's actually really nice as well. And yeah, you can see this image looks fantastic. Colors, brightness. This is actually a really bright projector. We'll just fire out of that. There we go. Yeah. I'm really liking this. This is actually going to be really good for playing games. Now, one unavoidable thing you'll hear, there's no audio playing right now, but now the fan is definitely loud on this, I will say. It's definitely in line with the Vivibray F30. I think that was actually a little louder than this even still. So this is something that you probably don't want next to you. If you could actually have it set up behind you a little whiles back and have speakers in between you and it, or speakers firing at you to overcome the sound of the fan, that would be ideal. I can kind of understand though. This is actually really bright in terms of the image itself, so I could understand why they need, large kind of loud fans. It's to keep it cool. If on cheaper models I've seen that have skimped on the fans or like underdriven them to make it quieter, I've seen reports of a lot of people complaining that their LEDs died or they had weird discolorations on the LCD panel due to overheating after like a couple months of use. So definitely this is something that I'll keep a watch out for as I use this projector over kind of a long-term period. But in terms of an easy way you can tell is just by, after running it for a little while, put your hand kind of on the output vent, feel how warm the air is, and on the body itself. And I can tell you the LCD is probably somewhere around here. That area is actually barely warm. So obviously near the vent, the air is actually, it sort of feels like a hairdryer in terms of the temperature. So it's not super hot, but definitely you can feel that it's removing the heat from the system. So that's actually a good sign that over on this side it's completely cool. So definitely you can feel that the fan is doing its job. And so it's sort of a double-edged sword. While I would have preferred this to be quieter, I would ultimately much more prefer that this last a long time in terms of not overheating, not damaging the parts due to trying to keep it quiet, prioritizing noise levels over how cool it keeps everything running. So I can live with this. I have actually pretty decent speaker setup, so I could actually patch that into this and use that instead of the onboard audio, which is definitely loud enough to overcome the fan, but pretty much with every projector I've ever tested. So audio always ends up being kind of not really tacked on, but an afterthought. In terms of the design, they put most of their effort into the brightness and the image quality and the colors and all that. And they don't really have much room or budget, I guess, in order to do really high quality audio. This sounds decent enough, but definitely even a cheap like $20 Bluetooth speaker plugged in over the auxiliary, because this does not have Bluetooth, unfortunately, But even with that setup, an extra $20 investment with Bluetooth speakers that many of you probably already have will sound infinitely better than any projector onboard speaker. Just go back home here. And yeah, I would say this default configuration, it looks like it's a bit too saturated. You can see some of the, if it's brighter colors, it's a bit washed out. So maybe I will need to actually adjust the settings just a tiny bit. We can enter the menu here. The menu looks really nice. I like that. We can just go in there, color temperature. So medium is what we were on. Cool, user. Maybe go to user. Yeah, I think the red was a little bit too hot there. So yeah, you can see there's a bit more definition. You can actually read Zelda. Anyway, yeah, these are just small tweaks. This isn't a tutorial on how to do that. There are plenty of videos on how to adjust color settings on video displays. Anyway, there's lots of adjustments. There's noise reduction. I'm guessing that's for like, does maybe some kind of anti-aliasing on the pixels when it renders it. That's actually nice. I haven't seen that before on various projectors. You can adjust the direction if you want to have this on the ceiling or behind the projector screen. HDMI mode, PC. You can actually reduce the display size. Okay, so it blinks the entire image each time you adjust. One thing that is slightly annoying, when you're in a menu and you're in like a sub menu, when you press the back button, it doesn't go, it kicks you out of the entire menu. It doesn't go back one. So I would have preferred if it didn't do that, but sound looks like, I guess that's the EQ. Oh yeah, there's actually a multi-band EQ. That's really cool. I'm liking that. You can do auto volume. I'm guessing that's for if you're playing music or have different video files with different volumes. It'll try to auto adjust to equalize all of them. That's a nice feature. You can do balance as well. I'm guessing that's on the audio output. There's actually a sleep timer, so you can have it auto shut off after a while. If you fall asleep during a movie, I guess. Set the language, factory default, OSD blending, duration. Oh, I guess this is a timeout, so that's nice. You can adjust how fast it'll exit out of the menus if you don't press a button. Blue screen, so when you first turn it on, if there's no video source, you can select to have it either, I'm guessing, on a black screen or a blue screen, yeah. And you can software update via USB. It's really nice to see. We'll have to obviously see it if the manufacturer Jimtab releases future software updates. This actually has quite a bit of configurability in the menu. I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with that. Overall, I think I would prefer the smaller projectors over this one just solely for portability, because my use case, I don't have a dedicated room for projection. So every time I watch a movie I want to project, I have to drag out the screen, set it up, set up a small table or tripod, set up the projector, align everything, focus everything. So it's kind of a hassle for me. So I really only do it like once a month when I rent a movie or something pops up on Netflix that I really want to watch. So I'll go through all that kind of as a special occasion sort of thing. If you have a permanent setup where you have, a projector mount screwed into your ceiling and you have this guy set up and you're never going to move it, I would say actually this is a good deal. I believe the MSRP is somewhere around like $250-ish. So it's not very cheap in terms of they're definitely lower end projectors, but then again, this is a native 1080p projector. The image brightness, it just dimmed there for a second. For all these projectors I've reviewed so far, this is probably one of the brightest, if not the brightest model. And I have to say the image quality is absolutely amazing. Yeah, you can see I adjusted the color down. I probably have to actually bump the brightness down, it looks like, because in this dim screen, this is sort of the switch goes into a kind of slightly dim standby if you haven't pressed any buttons on the remote. And you can see it dimmed it down, and now the colors look spot on. I can read all the text. It's very nice contrast. So I'm probably going to have to actually go into the menu and bump down the brightness. Just hit the remote just to wake it up. Yeah, I would say it looks a little different to my eyes to the camera, but I would say like that's just about perfect. It's just about perfect to my eyes. So yeah, now that looks fantastic. The contrast is spot on there between the black and the colors, so definitely there was some adjustment that I had to do. I've rambled on for quite long on this guy. I'm actually really happy. I'm excited to get this set up. I really would like to set up a room, like a dedicated room, and have this permanently installed on my ceiling. That would be ideal. Definitely, if you have that capability, I would get this guy. Definitely a good investment for the price. If you kind of want more of a portable projector, I would suggest getting one of the smaller 720p projectors, something like the Vivibright F10 that I reviewed semi-recently. And so definitely, anyway, if you guys are interested, I'll have links all down below. You can read these specifications and whatnot. I didn't really go through. This is more of just an introductory look into a non-professional video viewer, a video enthusiast, I guess you could say, who likes watching movies and playing video games. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, thoughts, put them down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.